I watched this man sacrifice the best years of his life between alarm clocks and time clocks to then get the congratulations of he's got to go get another job. And I thought, what am I doing that's so different than my dad working for a small pharmaceutical company called Bayer? And I worked my way into their maintenance division of this manufacturing facility in South Chicago because it was the highest paying job in the facility. And I was hustling. I was working hard, 12 hours a day. Anybody in here ever worked a 12-hour day? The whole room, right? 16-hour days. You betcha. Hustling to work a plan for someone else's financial success. And then to stop and think, what is it I really, really wanted with my life? And what I really wanted was to rewind the clock and know that my dad was at some of my ball games growing up. But I couldn't do that. But what I really wanted moving forward was to model something completely different to my kids. And that was to be at all their school functions, all their games, anything that Trinity and I could possibly be at, we wanted to be there. As a matter of fact, we wanted our kids to beg for a sitter. Because we were there all the time. Not getting in trouble on our watch. But what it really boils down to is commitments. You're here this weekend, and I have to assume you're here this weekend. Oh, I'm going back. I'm stuck. There we go. I have to assume you're here this weekend because you made a commitment to someone to be here. But most importantly, you made a commitment to yourself to be here. Thank you, 5 of you. I'm just warming up, so hopefully we're going to turn that up. 5. Anyways. Here's the thing. What I've learned in the past 20 years of us building our franchise business is that people take their commitments too lightly. You know, you see people walk around and throw out the phrase entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. That's what I am. I'm an entrepreneur. And I'm like, that's awesome. But are you committed? 100% committed in the time that you've chosen to commit to your business and what you truly want out of your business and not going to let anyone get in your way. And what happens is people shake a hand and then they turn around and they go, I don't have to really show up. It'll just happen. I'll wait for that bag of money to fall off my head. It's the shopping annuity. I got a website. I'm in. And I shook someone's hand and I committed. What did I commit to? I committed to what you guys have been hearing about all this weekend, which is the Getting Started Guide. Now, how many of you guys have ever seen one of these? Fantastic. How many of you guys are filling one out? How many of you guys are going to start filling one out tomorrow? How many of you are going to raise your hand no matter what I freaking ask? Thank you. Here's the thing. It takes a commitment to raise your arm up in the sky like this. You know what I'm saying? And again, people go, well, I'll raise my hand if someone's looking. But am I going to raise my hand if no one's watching? And the problem is, as an entrepreneur, no one's going to come to your door and knock on the door and say, what did you do on your checklist this week? Only you get to be the judge. Only you get to be the jury. You get to be the player. You get to be the coach. You get to play every position on the field because you're the entrepreneur. And Elizabeth said something today that I thought was pretty profound, and she said, we're all so different. Do you guys remember that like an hour ago? 30 of you. We're getting better. Is my microphone working, by the way? Can you guys hear me in the back? Back there? You can hear me? All right, fantastic. She said we're all so different. And I'm sure you guys will all agree with me. This weekend, you've seen a whole motley crew come across the stage. True or true? Yeah. Absolutely you did. But here's one thing that I've learned, is that although we're all different, we're all the same. Because we've all done one thing. And there's only one reason why my wife and I, Trinity and I, were able to build a business at 24 years old. And it was because of the global meeting and training seminar system. And the commitment that we made to our business to check off boxes and don't skip a box. But it's so interesting how people will come up and say, what did you do? What did you do? How did you do it? And then you say, I checked off every box. Oh, I thought it was going to be something different. There had to be a shortcut. Everybody wants a shortcut, yes? You want a shortcut? It's the GMTSS. Checking off every box. It's like, in your getting started guide, you committed how many months to your business? 12 months at a minimum to check off every box in the getting started guide. And the reality is that people are awesome starters. Awesome starters. But very few are great finishers. Very few. And you know how we know who's a great finisher in our business? What's the scoreboard? Income. It's your income. Retail profit, change the lives with our products, but also commission checks. That's the scoreboard. Are you getting challenges? Are you making things happen? Week in, week out. But again, we take those commitments lightly. I'll just show up when I feel like it. Again, like we learned earlier this week from Professor Buckman over here. It's not a spare time business, but that's how people treat it. But then they want something different. But are you willing to carry the wood? See, in Chicago, we say carry the wood because we want to build a fire. Because it gets cold up there. Freaking cold. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wants a big fire burning. Big fire burning. But nobody wants to carry the wood. You carry the wood. You carry the wood. I don't want to carry the wood. That takes extra work. But the reality is if you're 100% committed, and I have to assume you are because you're here. Yeah. Are you committed?
Yeah.
Turn to somebody, give them a high five, and say, I'm committed.
I'm committed. Yes.
All right, simmer down. Where's all this energy coming from all of a sudden? About 5 minutes ago, I was like reviving the dead up here. You know, all of a sudden you're out of control. Now here's what I want you to do. In all seriousness, I want you to turn to somebody. I want you to look them in the eyes. But only do this if you're 100% committed for the next, I don't care what you've done in your past, it doesn't matter because you're here today. Yes? Yes. You're going to look them square in the eyes and you're going to shake their freaking hand. And you're going to squeeze it. And you're going to say, I am committed for the next 12 months to build my business at whatever hours a week that you're committed to building it. And you're committed to plugging into the GMTSS for anything that's in your geographic area. And you're committed to being at next year's regional convention, which means you're going to play the next 12 months, maybe for some of you, for the first time ever, at 100% effort for just 1 year. That's all I'm asking. It will change your life forever. So turn to somebody and shake their hand and say, I am committed to, and fill in the blank.
That's a lot to say. All right. I'm committed to everything he said for the next year.
All right. I am committed to, for the next 12 months, checking off all the boxes.
All right. Simmer down again. Out of control. All right. Don't get some time. Here's what we're committing to. Remember something. You are committing to you.
Yep.
You are committing to your reason why. This business is going to fulfill the reason why you are here. By plugging into the GMTSS. On the screen here, I have unfranchised business presentations. Above that, we have home presentations. You've got one-on-ones, two-on-ones. You have to meet with people, folks. Sending a video, first look, when they don't know you that well, does not work.
Right.
Cullen, how do you know? I tried it. I've been doing this a long time. I'm just going to cut to the chase and be transparent. We are new to Florida from via Chicago. We've been in Chicago our whole lives until last August. and then we moved to Clearwater for Team Tampa Bay. And we are crushing it. Team Tampa Bay. One team. Oh, you guys do better than that. One team. As the Southeast region, though, because we are as a group collectively one team. And no freaking drama. Now, we are going to do 24 unfranchised business presentations. That means 2 a month. How many a month? 2. That's right. If you don't have one in your area, create it. Do it in the home. Make it happen. Build house to house. That's going to build into 4 local seminars. 4 local seminars for the year. If you don't have local seminars in your area, what are you going to do? You're going to create it. We didn't have local seminars in Chicago. It's called David and Stacy Whiten, who are in Colorado. Our sponsor who's in Colorado. What do? Create it. We didn't just set up a seminar. We were building house to house to what?
House.
To?
House.
Absolutely. And that's how you're going to rock the business out. All right? So we got 4 local seminars a year, and then we're going to build into our district conference, which, as you guys know, our district conference for Florida is coming up. We have Gary Rogers coming in November, which is going to be absolutely incredible. So that's 1.5 days. That's how many days next to it, by the way. You got a regional convention, so that's going to be a year from now. We're committing to that. Are you committed?
Yes.
All right. We have 4 days at International Convention and 3 days at the World Conference. 15 days of training, non-negotiable. I am all in. Why? Because if you're not all in, who's going to follow you? I had a gentleman call me when we were new in the Tampa area, and he asked me, he said, Cullen, would you come to my house and show the plan? He is not on our team financially, and I asked him one question. Can you guess what it was? Does he have his tickets? And he said, I have 4 tickets to the next local seminar that's happening in January in the Tampa area. And I said, 4 is awesome, you're committed, I will come. And that is what you have to be asking yourselves. If you're all in and you're committed, the team is going to bend over backwards to help you. Isn't that true, team? Absolutely. But if you don't have your tickets, what that says to us is mentally, maybe not physically yet, because it always goes mental and then physical. So what is it, please?
Mental, physical.
Yeah, but it doesn't work if you don't do it like I did. All right, so it's mental and then physical. Yeah, but you got to shake it. Yeah, a little sticky. But see, if mentally you don't have your tickets and you're not committed, but you want me to come show the plan for you, you're wasting my time, because even if the people are interested, they're going to come to me and say, Cullen, would you work with me? Because this person is not serious. And of course, we all know in our business, with integrity and ethics, I would never touch that with a 10-foot pole. True or true? But how sad I feel for the person you just led to, who doesn't believe you can lead them, even to the next event, because you're not all in. This is the shortcut, guys. Plugging into the GMTSS. Being all in as far as growing your business. Environment is stronger than willpower. What does that say, please?
Environment is stronger than willpower.
Thank you. What that means is, did you guys have a great time here this weekend? How many of you guys learned a lot? How many of you guys unlearned some things that you thought to be true, but realized this weekend was not true? And now you're going to leave here this weekend vibrating at a higher level. Some of you probably have already noticed you're vibrating up here. Have you picked up on this? This is why environment and plugging into the system and staying plugged in is so critical. I can guarantee you, Trinity and I didn't stay plugged in, you guys. We would have went down on that thermometer. We would have second-guessed ourselves. I don't know if this is working. It's working fast. I don't know a single person who's ever approached us and says, this is going too darn fast. Nobody says that. Everybody challenges how fast it's going. I don't care who you are. Even Elizabeth Weber probably wasn't going fast enough. But if you stay plugged in and you're in the energy, you're in the environment, I call it the freeway of great things to happen. And if you're on that freeway, guess what will happen? Great things. you're going to get run over on that freeway. But if you go on the freeway of bad things to happen, hanging out with those negative friends of yours, environment back home, you're going to get run over. Either way, you're going to get run over. You get to choose what freeway you get on and who you link arms with. I choose to link arms with people who have my back, unconditionally, whether they're in my money line or not. Because again, we're one team, and that's the way it should be. It's the one. Like 30 claps, I'm getting it. So here's the thing. Cullen, that's great. That's Cullen's system. No, it's not. This is the vision of our president, founder, and CEO, J.R. Rightinger's system. One team,
One dream.
and no freaking
Drama.
You got it. Environment, though, is where we're going to stay plugged in and we're going to cheer each other on. We're going to high-five each other. You just sold a product, high-five. Somebody just sold a new product this week, you did something positive in your business, you're going to turn to that person, you're going to give them a high-five, and you're going to say, you got this.
Right.
So turn to somebody, give them a high-five, and say, you got this.
You got it. Yeah. You got this, girl. You got it.
All right, great job. Why are we staying plugged into the system?
Technology.
That it's a system.
There's a clue.
Brain power.
Oh, knowledge. You guys are sharp. Sharp. Knowledge is
Power.
when applied. We provide the environment, we're going to provide the knowledge, we provide the system and structure that determines the result. People are the only thing that can mess it up. So, you plug into the system, get the knowledge, and you continue to get some more knowledge. Because clearly, you don't have the right knowledge or else you've already be taking more what?
Business partner.
Oh, I got a lot of work to do. I need way more time. You would be taking the proper action. Action. The only thing that's preventing you from taking action is what? You must not know something and believe enough in yourself to take the action. So therefore, we got to link arms with some other people that are going to high-five us and say, you got this. You know how I know this to be true? It happened. Anybody ever read the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad?
Yes.
Robert Kiyosaki, one of the first success books I ever read, and it was a revelation for me because I read the book and I said, oh my gosh, that's my rich dad down the street, Mr. McCartney. Milburn, Mark McCartney. And then there's my dad, my real dad, who was my poor dad, financially speaking. And I can remember when I was a freshman in high school, and I met this man. I came into his house, and I walked in. The day I met him, he says, what's your name? And I said, Cullen Haskins. And he says, Happy Haskins. Freshman year of high school, this guy changed my life forever. Because I would come into his house, face full of acne, wondering why people wanted to be my friends, because I was somewhat popular because I was good at sports. And yet this man poured into me, because every time I poured something, Happy! What's going on? And he'd high-five me, and he'd say, you're awesome. And I was like, this guy's weird. Because see, that wasn't happening at home. How many of you guys know what I'm talking about? That wasn't the environment I was in. But see, this guy was helping create that environment for me. I didn't know what was going on, and I remember playing in a baseball game. Can I share a short story?
Yes.
All right, I'll tell the 30 of you after. The rest of you, sorry about it. Let's move on. Oh, do you want me to share?
Yes.
All right. Quick switch to my right. So here's what happened. We're playing in a baseball game. All right, Mr. McCartney was the one taking me to and from my games, by the way, because my parents were out doing what? Working. And I stood up to bat, and it was bases loaded, 2 outs, bottom of the 7th, and I struck out to end the game. I was devastated. We lost the game. And I was just, oh my gosh, I get into Mr. McCartney's van, all right? And if you know Mr. McCartney's van's like, anybody remember the show Sanford and Son? Yeah, so that was him, like big brown, hoopty looking van, you know. I sat in the back, there was no seats in the back, I sat in the back on a blanket next to the guns, you know what I mean? So I'm sitting there, and I start crying. Why? Because I got into the safe zone. I started crying. He says, Happy, what's the matter? And I said, I lost the game. And he says, let me tell you something. You didn't lose anything. We are a team. We win as a team, and we lose as a team. And you, my friend, just did something you've never done before, which means you stood in the batter's box and you got uncomfortable. You got a little scared. Anybody ever had these butterflies things come up? Absolutely, right? And you were scared, but you struck out swinging, right? You were willing to stand in the heat. Most people would have ran away and just walk up and go, oh, wasn't meant to be. Because that's what people do. Not you guys, but you may know some people. Come, starter. I'm a great starter. I'm a great starter. And I'm going to go stand in that batter's box. I get a little uncomfortable. He said, but let me tell you something. You did it once, it's going to prepare you for the next time. You're going to stand in there, and you're going to take a deep breath. Everybody take a deep breath. And you're going to say, I got this.
I got this.
And he says, the next time you're going to get a hit. I thought, what is this guy talking about? And I come up to bat. Two days later, our next game, 2 outs, bottom of the 7th. Runners on second and third this time. Who's walking up? Happy Haskins. And I'm walking out there and I look over, and who do I see? Mr. McCartney. He's like this. I told you. And I come walking up there and I stood in the batter's box. I took a deep breath in and I said, what?
I got this.
Because see, I had done the practice.
Yep.
Are you guys practicing?
No.
You need to be practicing.
Thank you for
Carl,
your
more
honesty.
work. I stood in that batter's box. I got this. And I hit that ball, goes out, and it hits the center field fence, and it drops in, runs scoring, and we win that game. All because Mr. McCartney believed more in me than I believed in me. See, I'm going to tell you something. When I showed up to my first conference, I showed up to my first leadership school in Miami, Florida, and I sat there and I listened to Dennis Franks, and he got up there, and he's dancing around, and he's doing this thing, and then Kevin comes out, and he's like, and everybody's coming with their different style, and I sat there and I said, it wasn't what they were saying, it was who they were. They were just like my rich dad, Mr. McCartney. And I thought, man, I want to be just like these guys. Cheering people on, high-fiving people, saying, you got this. But you got to believe in you. True or true? True. Can I share one more story?
Yeah.
So there's a sheik. He wants to marry off his daughter. He says, puts an advertisement out. He gets the word out to everybody, and he says, listen, I'm gonna marry my daughter. I need a brave man. And that brave man that I'm gonna marry my daughter to, you're gonna not only receive my daughter, but you're also gonna receive all of my riches. So show up at my house Saturday night, 7 o'clock. So Saturday night shows up, 7 o'clock, and guess what? You think anybody showed up?
Yeah.
Oh, there was a ton of people showing up. Because they thought it was a free lunch, right? That's where, the piranhas are out, man. Free lunch. We're showing up for sure, man. I want the daughter, but I want the riches. And all of a sudden, he stands up there, and there's a whole host of these men over here at their other end of the pool. And he's standing there, and he says, who would like to marry my daughter? And they all said, what? Me. And he says, who wants all my riches? Me. And he stands there, and he says, you're going to need to come across that pool. And they said, okay. And he goes, who's in? And he's like, I'm all in. So he goes, hit it. And he goes, shh. And the pool opens up. What do you think's in the pool?
Gators.
Gators. Gators are everywhere. And they're splashing around. And they're going crazy. And all these guys step back. And they're like, oh my gosh. So all of a sudden, nothing. About 5 minutes go by, nothing. And the sheik's standing there like, that's what I thought. And all of a sudden you hear, kaboosh! And it's like, and gators are going crazy. Water splashing everywhere. This guy's going across the pool. Ah! And he jumps out the other side. And when he comes up on the other side, right in front of the sheik's like, he was shocked. He couldn't believe it. He was just like, whoa. And the guy's he's like, and he looks at this guy. And he says, that was awesome. He says, would you like to share anything with us? Because I wasn't expecting that. He says, yeah, one thing. Who freaking pushed me in? difference between being committed or interested. And when you're committed, you'll do whatever it takes. But sometimes, you may need a push. And in this business, we're here to encourage you, but we're also here to push you sometimes. And if you're that person who needs a push, link arms with someone else and say, join an accountability team like you're hearing about here. Trinity and I have had more growth happening in the last 90 days with an accountability group. Same thing, we're reporting to Jim Winkler. Why? Because we even need a push sometimes, you guys. We love you, and we're going to rock the Southeast region.